Hey Boots! Today we're going to go through the concept of social entrepreneurship. What do you think it is?
Well, if I were going into a great class like MGPO438, I'd say that social entrepreneurship is running your own business while trying to do good for communities.
Awesome, Boots! What a great start! You're right in that sense. Social entrepreneurship is starting a company or organization to try to enact change. Now, this change can be small, like making a well for a small community, or it can be massive, like tackling the issue of mass incarceration. Either way, the goal is to change some aspect of the way people live to make it better. One really important concept to this is creating systemic change.
Systemic change? What does that mean?
Well, systemic change is change that pervades all parts of a system. And by system, we mean the structure or the way things work. When we strive for systemic change, we're trying to change a whole spectrum of things by taking into account the interrelationships and interdependencies among those parts.
That sounds awesome. When I grow up, I want to be an entrepreneur. And not just any entrepreneur. I want to be a social entrepreneur.
I'm the map, 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 I'm the map!
Dora and Boots want to find out how to fix these social issues. Wait, I've got an idea. I'll introduce them to my 3 favorite concepts and ideas that help me create change. To start, let's talk about collective impact. More specifically, let's talk about its power. Collective impact is the idea of involving different groups from differing backgrounds who all collaborate on solving a social issue. As I've learned, collective impact is a great way to start solving issues. You get all different types of opinions and ideas, which will ultimately leave a group better off. You know what they say, everything begins with an idea. And having more ideas is better than having one. My next favorite tool for social change is the ability to empathize. Empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes, which means to try and truly understand what they're going through and or how they perceive different aspects of life. With this gift, the ability to empathize, we can create effective change by understanding what people need and or want. This brings me to my next point, the idea of listening to create change. There's one really cool TED Talk I can show you guys, but I'll just explain it instead. A lot of social and humanity issues that people try and fix don't necessarily work out all the time. Often, this is because there's a fundamental misunderstanding of the problem itself or a misunderstanding of ways to solve the problem. When social entrepreneurs listen before they do anything, they have a much better chance at tackling the issue. Now you guys know how incredibly important the idea of listening is when attempting to create change.
So, Dora, how can we get started? Are there any tools we can use to help us address social issues?
I'm glad you asked, Boots. There are plenty, but I'll let Backpack take over from here.
Backpack, 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 yeah!
Where traditional BCom courses focus on providing you profit-driven tools, here, Backpack is loaded up with social enterprise tools and knickknacks to assess specific components in driving social change. Each tool serves a specific purpose and should be developed and used carefully. You may recognize a few. The first one is called the systems map. When working with a lot of people with different point of views and experiences, it is important to integrate all of those point of views in order to develop an accurate map of a system. This system can be developed at the corporate level or even at the problem level, where we can develop a full picture of what factors play a role in enabling the system. This is a great bird's eye view of understanding a social issue. The next tool we have is the Impact Gap Canvas. With this tool, we can identify where those gaps between a social problem and implemented solutions are, so we know which areas specifically need to be worked on. Our next tool, our theory of change. By backwards mapping from our ultimate long-term goal, we can understand each component of what needs to be done to achieve our ultimate goal. We can back up our theory of change with impact measurements. When they're done right, they provide guidance as to whether or not our efforts are actually paying off. Our last tool, this tool is very special, our social business canvas. With this tool, we can outline the different components of a social enterprise in order to have a robust business model. We can use this to both communicate our business and collaborate with others.
Yum, 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 yum. Delicioso!
Gosh, sometimes there are rivers we just can't cross alone. The idea of collective impact is important here, because through our different sets of point of views and skill sets, we can overcome much more than if we were alone. Look, Boots!
There's Tico the squirrel. He's a local entrepreneur working on the same social issues as us. We share the same vision. Maybe we can work together. Tico! Can we work together to cross the river?
Of course, here I come.
Amazing! In working together, we were able to cross the river.
Collective impact is amazing because by emphasizing the importance of expertise and access to broad point of views, we could triangulate our ideas to create the most amazing solutions.
All thanks to the power of collaboration. As we strive to be better problem solvers, it's important to be aware of our cognitive limitations. In emphasizing collaboration and working with both open-mindedness and transparency, we can overcome them. This means collaborating with a large set of stakeholders, from other problem solvers to the victims of social issues themselves, in order to create the most complete solution. Oh no, there's a big red chicken blocking our path!
Let's just yell at him to get up and get out of the way. He shouldn't be lazy and sleeping in people's paths anyway.
Hold on, Boots. There may be something more. That kind of thinking would only lead to conflict and might not address the issue at all. We should be empathetic about this. Excuse me, Big Red Chicken? Is everything all right? I can see that you're tired, but cannot understand as to why.
Oh, hi Dora and Boots. I've been writing Q4Rs every morning, plus a social business analysis. I'm just tired.
Oh, I see. I can imagine how beat you are, but also know that you're passionate about solving social issues and the hard work will pay off.
You're right. Gee, thanks for taking a view of reality through my lens. I also see you guys are on a mission. Let me play my role by moving out of your way.
Thank you, Big Red Chicken. Hey, Boots, did you see that? When we carry empathy as an essential tool, we can have more motivation and collaboration, which, as we saw before, enables better solutions.
Neat.
The advantages of being empathetic are twofold. It motivates us to take action while enabling us to take the right actions that will drive social change. Empathy, along with other mechanics such as systems thinking and collaboration, is an essential tool in our quest to achieve sustainable social change in our society. Uh-oh, here comes the college graduates with heropreneurship-like tendencies who believe that they can solve all the social issues without truly understanding them. They are especially dangerous because their actions can be ineffective or to the detriment of the solution we are trying to implement. They fail to learn and build off of innovations of others, developing shallow solutions for complex issues. Even more, our resources are limited, and if they exploit them with lackluster solutions, we're in for a long recovery. We must stop them. Say it with us. Entrepreneur, humble yourself. Entrepreneur, humble yourself. Entrepreneur, humble yourself.
Oh, man!
Social entrepreneurship has the potential to challenge the status quo and result in sustainable change. I say potential because social entrepreneurship often encourages individual promotion by focusing on the popularized concepts of changing the world and making a difference. This language centers the entrepreneur as the focal point. Quote, I want to make a change, rather than people who are directly impacted from the services or lack thereof. Social entrepreneurship is also embedded in elitism and power, which has privatized entrepreneurial pursuits and emphasized a market-based approach. Neoliberal capitalism placed businesses and markets in the center of entrepreneurial do-gooding, which effectively obscured Western hegemony, and instead of challenging history, policy, and legislation, or existing institutions, those entrepreneurs sought to build something new. Without a grounding in history and understanding of what worked and what failed, social entrepreneurship cannot fully challenge power systems that have created the inequality we see today. So, social entrepreneurship must be first and foremost concerned with power dynamics and amplifying the voices of the most vulnerable.
Hi, Benny!
Listening in social entrepreneurship is an example of humility and is necessary for any social change work. It is critical that entrepreneurs listen to diverse perspectives and experiences in order to relate to people, understand our common humanity, and learn from one another. This is especially important in situations where the entrepreneur may want to go into a country that they are unfamiliar with and just, quote, fix things. We have to move away from the white savior and only listening and relating to others will do that.
I agree. When you listen to a range of thinkers, you are exposed to different viewpoints that you might have ignored before because they did not align with your own. That is a very static way of living and it keeps you closed off to the world. If we really want to change our systems and institutions, we must be able to hear both sides, take criticism, and challenge ourselves to keep learning.
And I want to add that practicing our ability as human beings to listen and be empathetic to one another is what will improve our quality of life. We need to move away from the consumerist culture that engulfs our everyday lives and instead practice tolerance and build resilience in order to live in a more equitable world. We must invest in families, communities, and healing and seek restorative practices for all. Now that we are aware of the many challenges to social entrepreneurship, it is our responsibility as a new generation of thinkers to push the field into one of sustainable change-making. Entrepreneurs must approach every situation with politics of harm reduction, empathy, and ultimate willingness to learn and be led by those who are most affected. Social entrepreneurship is an important part of providing the space for change, but is not the change itself. Thank you for coming along on our journey to learn to change the world. Now go kick some fucking ass.